We welcome you this evening. In a special way, we are revisiting these women who carried Nano's flame with them. You know that September 8th marked the actual date of our arrival in New York City 150 years ago. Some of you were able to be present for the anniversary mass and dinner on the 7th. Some of you were able to celebrate the Sacred Journey ritual in the chapel the next day. Some of you were part of it. Some of you will celebrate Presentation Day and the 150th in Massachusetts on the 17th. And we know in Louisiana, Presentation Day will be very special this year because of our 150th anniversary. This evening, we're going to take just two small segments from our Congregational Annals account of the journey of the sisters. And we're going to reflect on them in a personal way. There would have been no journey if there had not been an invitation. And there would have been no invitation if there had not been a terrible need. So let's place ourselves in the shoes of Father Arthur Donnelly, pastor of St. Michael's Church on the west side of Manhattan. Between the years 1845 and 1870, over 2 million Irish arrived in New York. 2 million. Most of the men and boys were unskilled workers, taking the most menial jobs and often the most dangerous to feed themselves and their families. They worked on building skyscrapers, digging tunnels, building bridges, even though most of them had previously eked out a living by farming back in Ireland. The women were often domestic servants, as was my grandmother, or mothers caring for their children and sometimes having large families. The children, hundreds and hundreds of them, needed and wanted an education badly. Father Donnelly's dream was to go back to Ireland and to recruit volunteers from among the Presentation Sisters to meet the needs of these Irish children. And the daughters of Nano Nagle gave a resounding yes. We will come. And tonight we will ask the question, who were these women who said, yes, we will come?
Meantime, Mother Mary Joseph, intending to take with her but two members of her own community, Sister Mary Frances Xavier Jones and Sister Mary Teresa Reynolds, applied for recruits to the neighboring Presentation Convent, Maria Immaculata, Clondalkin. Her call was responded by Sister Mary Magdalene Keating and Mary Angela Rio, who put themselves in readiness to join the missionary band as soon as the word of command would be given. Later on, she secured the services of Mother Mary Aloysius of Tuam Convent. On the feast of St. Joseph Calasantius, August 27, 1874, the missionary party bade adieu to their dear religious home and dearer sisters in Jesus Christ. A crowd of sorrowing yet applauding relatives and friends, both lay and clerical, assembled at the Kingsbridge terminal to bid a last farewell. At their allays, two of our young postulants joined us, Sister Margaret Walton and Sister Margaret Everard. Two other sisters, Sister Mary Boehm and Ellen Tighe, were with us from Dublin.
These professed sisters and postulants spent the evening at South Presentation Convent and prayed at the grave of Nan O'Nagel. Place yourself among them. Look around you. Some of these women had never met before this journey. Some of them were very young. Some were on in years. What thoughts and emotions surfaced within them that evening? What motivated them and bound them together? Have you ever, in your professional or personal life, experienced ties that united you with others in a meaningful way across the lines of age, gender, race, or religion?
Of the 2 Sundays passed on sea, the first was unmarked by any outward religious observance. The weather was too stormy and the mal de mer too widespread to allow of such. But the second Sabbath was truly sanctified, for down in the steerage, in the midst of his chosen poor, the divine victim descended on the altar and was offered for the salvation of all present. The Reverend J. Hickey was the celebrant, the other 2 priests assisting him by steadying the sacred vessels when the ship heaved. A few eloquent words of exhortation were spoken at the conclusion of Mass, which were listened to with mute attention by the motley congregation. But not only were all the nuns and all the Catholic passengers present, but the majority of sailors, although not all of our faith.
Why might this experience of Eucharist have been deeply moving for these pioneer sisters? Reflect on an experience of Eucharist which was deeply meaningful for you.
Well, the ship, the City of Paris, did arrive in New York Harbor on September 8th, 1874. And so it began, a legacy of teaching and healing, which started with a small band of missionary-hearted women who responded in faith and trust to a need, a cry for help on another continent, an ocean away. Some lived only a few years after arriving in New York, falling victim to tuberculosis. Others lived to old age. Many remained in the enclosure of St. Michael's, teaching not only their young students, but reaching out to hundreds of Irish immigrant women. Some of our foremothers, like Mother Teresa Reynolds, remained on Staten Island to establish an orphanage. Others, like Mother Magdalene Keating, responded to the needs of immigrants in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. In the years to come, the sisters who followed this pioneer band would establish parochial schools throughout New England, the tri-state region, and Louisiana. They would minister in all areas of education, healthcare, social service, and chaplaincy. The call to serve in all parts of the globe would lead as far away as Venezuela, Guyana, Peru, Bolivia, the Holy Land, and Ghana, West Africa. Let us now pay tribute to these founding sisters to whom we owe so much.
In the face of fear, they chose to be daring. In the face of anxiety, they chose to trust. In the face of impossibility, they chose to begin. To universal misery, they opposed. Ministry to persons, to ignorance, knowledge, to disillusionment, tenacity of purpose, and to multiple vexations, singleness of heart. Faced with failure, they held fast to hope. Faced with death, they believed in a living future.
Let us now pray the closing prayer silently as Sister Elaine reads it aloud for us.
Creator God, hear our prayer that the mission of Nanonego and our founding sisters may continue to grow in these new times. We, sisters, associate ministers, and partners in mission, believe that we are still on the sacred journey, that God is still with us on that journey, that the story of our salvation history is still unfolding. Renew our spirits and help us to become, like our founding sisters, bearers of your light and weavers of hope in our world. Amen.
Amen.